Matt Sheridan and Thomas Scott Ferguson present The Frank Duffy Show. I'm your host, Mike Moore. Each week before the Stateliner home games, we'll review the previous week's game and we'll have a breakdown of the upcoming opponent from here in the Phillipsburg High School television studio. So, Coach, since our last show, 2 more victories, 28-6 over Ridge, 59-20 over Hillsborough. Let's look at Ridge first. There was a kickoff return for a touchdown, an interception return for a touchdown. So the offense didn't get a lot of time in the field.
Yeah, sometimes it's not exactly the way you draw it up, but good teams find a way to win and find a variety of ways to score points, and that's what we did. You know, we had a great special teams kick return from Sammy Deck, who's been outstanding all year on all 3 phases of the game. And defensively, we have an interception return from Mike Bracco, who's been lights out the past couple weeks. And you know, two passes in the air, which is really nice. One right before the end of the half, which was good. So yeah, sometimes it's not always the way you imagine it or draw it up, especially with our style of play with running the football. But a win is a win, and against a quality opponent, you're always going to take it.
The deck return was something you had spotted in looking at tape because he wasn't a deep back on that play.
No, he wasn't a deep back, and what we saw on tape was their kicker would always kick it to. He would kick it a little more shallow to that side. So what we decided to do was put Sammy Deck over to that side as our up back. And Jason Blacknall was still our returner over there. So we knew if he kicked it a little deeper than usual, Jason would get the return. And if he kicked it shorter, Sammy would get the return. And obviously, if we get an opportunity to have the ball in Sam's hands, we want to do that. And that's what happened that play. And it really worked out for us.
I think the Ridge team that you saw was the Ridge team that you thought you were going to see. They wanted to try and pound the ball down your throat.
Yeah, and our defense did a great job. Chris Labatch did a great job with game time adjustments for our guys. At the high school level, those are really important because you don't have your whole defensive unit like you do in college or the NFL on a bench where you can go through. You have to really kind of make them on the fly. And if you have any guys that aren't on offense, sometimes it's 1 or 2 players at most. You have to grab those guys and really make adjustments on the fly, or grab guys when they're coming off the field in between series. So we did a good job schematically how they were trying to attack us, and we gave up 6 points, I should say. Didn't make the extra point, but defensively was locked down for the rest of the game.
Now let's go back to the offense for a second because you only got a chance to run 33 plays, and I know there are some plays scripted for the start of the game.
Yeah.
So how long was before you got a feel of what we're going to be able to do tonight on offense and what they're going to try and take away from us?
Yeah, so you have your scripted plays in the beginning, and the whole idea of scripted plays is to give them multiple formations, multiple motions, and multiple plays to see what you like. Okay, how are they aligning to this formation? Where do we want to attack them? And fortunately for us, we got into a 2-minute mode at the end of the half, and we defer. We defer because we want to double up our possessions, and that's exactly what we were able to do. We were able to score at the end of the half there when Dom had a great throw to his brother across the middle of the field, and then have a middle safety, and Mike took it for a touchdown. So that was a situational football where we were able to respond and execute, which was nice.
You're talking about the last 4 minutes of the first half. First 4 minutes of the second half, how important they are.
Huge. We call it the middle 8. You have to win the middle 8, and that's something that we stress as a coaching staff and to our players. Like, you have to win the middle 8. If you can keep them off the scoreboard before the end of the half, or you can put points on before the end of the half, trust me, it's a whole different feeling going into halftime. Even if you're winning, but the other team puts up points before the half, it's a different feeling. It's a different vibe. So it's important to do that.
All right, so let's talk about Hillsborough. Nearly 500 yards in total offense.
Yep.
Surrendered nearly 400 yards in total offense. Not a good night for defenses on Friday.
Yeah, certainly not a stat sheet I like to see, of course. We don't want to get into those type of games where we're gaining 500 yards and giving up almost 400 yards. Defensively, though, we struggled there in a little bit in the first half, but what I really liked is how our guys came out in the second half. We did give up another touchdown, but our guys really buckled down, did create some takeaways. We're +7 on the year turnover margin. So it means we're not turning the ball over. In fact, I don't think we've turned the ball over since week 1 against Westfield, and we're creating takeaways. Mike had 2 more picks. We had a fumble recovery, so we were +3. So +7 is really good. You always want to be plus, and if you can get over +10 for the year, then you're in really good shape.
Mike mentioned in print media coverage of the game, he saw in the quarterback's eyes where the ball was going to go.
Yeah, Mike has a really good ability to read the quarterback's eyes. He plays an outside linebacker position, so he has to defend a lot of what we call intermediate routes. You have deep routes, you have intermediate routes, and you have shallow routes. So he did a really good job of multiple times the past 2 weeks reading the quarterback's eyes. And if the quarterback's going to stare the receiver down, you got to make him pay, and that's what he did.
All right, let's take our first break. Need help managing your retirement and investment accounts? Look no further than Vista Financial Services, located in Alpha, New Jersey. Our advisors have high-level certifications and specialize in retirement and investment account portfolio management. Avoid going with a large firm where you get served with excessive hidden fees and little personal attention. Go with the investment firm with experienced local financial advisors you can trust. Advisors that are accessible and care about your financial goals. Vista Financial Services, Alpha, New Jersey. Visit www.vistafsl.com to learn more. Matt Sheridan at Vista Financial Services. I want to ask you about tape study. Do you spend extra time looking at chunk plays, or is it a particular series that you want to look at that maybe we did what we wanted to do, or we didn't do what we wanted to do?
In regards to looking at our previous game? Okay. Yeah, so how I like to do it, I mean, I watch every single play, as the head coach. So I'll watch every offensive play, defense, and special teams. I like to watch the game all the way through because I want to see the progression of the game and how we're calling it offensively, how we're calling it defensively. Did it match up to what we expected? So I like to watch it from its entirety, from start to finish, to kind of get a flow of the game. And a lot of times after a game, there's a lot of emotion, and you can't remember everything all the time. So when you go back, oh, now I remember that. That was the second quarter. That was the penalty that happened in the second quarter that got us off schedule. And that's when I like to take my notes, and I'll jot notes down for the entire game, and that will be my report to the coaches on Sunday morning when we meet.
If I'm right, there was a 4th down and 2 play in the first half and a handoff to Sam Deck running wide. He got stopped short. In the fourth quarter, was that the same play faked in the naked bootleg by Dom Bracco, who took it down the far side? Was it the same play? Yeah,
it was a different backfield formation for us, but it was similar, very similar. Yeah, it was very similar actually to the same play. You're right, but they were just really crashing down, and we haven't shown that yet. So we figured we'd be able to get the edge, and plus we ran it to the field. We didn't run it to the boundary, so we knew even if their player didn't bend all the way down, Mike still had an opportunity to get the edge, and he did get the edge. I mean, he broke it off for 40-something yards. So that was just a play that we felt good about. That if we can get this right now, we can pretty much ice the game.
In carrying out the fakes, I thought Sam had the ball, and he was coming right to me.
Yeah.
And I look up, and there goes Dom around the corner. And if I've looked at the play a couple of times, the left tackle is out there, to screen him off so that he can get outside.
Yeah, Coach Decker always talks about with our running backs and our quarterbacks that we're dealing cards. When you're dealing cards, you don't ever want to show your hand. So fakes are at a premium. Dom, when he comes off, the center QB exchange, does he have the ball? Does he not have the ball? You shouldn't know if he has the ball or if he doesn't have the ball. You shouldn't know if the running back has the ball or doesn't have the ball. That's kind of the basis of being a running team. When you want to play action and when you want to do those things, that's a lot of what goes into being a successful running team, is those type of things.
So Hillsborough on Friday, I think, threw the ball more than anyone would have anticipated. Not a diminutive quarterback, decent arm, threw a lot of balls deep.
He did, yeah. I mean, they did. Coach Carty's been there for a really long time. I think he's a really good offensive mind. They had the ability to spread you out and get their playmakers the ball in space. Some things that we just kind of struggled with there in the first half. And, football's a game of momentum. And we always talk about momentum being a positive thing, but at times it can be a negative thing. And the other team practices too, and they can get momentum. So what you saw there was a little bit of adversity. This is a long season. Every half is not going to be perfect. So that wasn't a great half. And our guys know that. And I let them know at halftime that defensively it wasn't a great half. So we got to learn from that. And if you're learning in a win, it's much better than learning in a loss. And that was the message. So
has that carried over into practice this week, the message that they got on Friday?
Yeah, well, we'll see today. Today's our first full padded practice. Yesterday was our scouting report. I hope I know this group. I'm sure it will.
right, let's take our second break. Thomas Scott Ferguson has been a practicing attorney in Phillipsburg for decades. He's also a volunteer youth track coach and voluntary summertime cross-country coach. After Phillipsburg's 2024 dramatic come-from-behind playoff victory over Northern Highlands with a 46-yard field goal as time expired, Scott texted Lafayette coach John Troxell, telling him that his 1988 ESPN game heroics may have been eclipsed. Scott's son Ryan played football and winter and spring track, and he's a senior at Lehigh University. All right, let's talk about the opponent coming up on Friday. West Orange, it's only the third game in the series. They haven't been on the schedule for a long time, but they've posed some problems.
Yeah, in 2022, they came to Maloney and they beat us in the sectional final game. And last year we went there and we were successful. It was a close game. 21-14, we had a block punt for a touchdown. Felix Matos had a block punt for a touchdown. Matt Scorbo Jr. had a pick for a touchdown, finding different ways to score, just like the Ridge game. And then we did have one touchdown on Jet, actually, a naked play, just like we talked about, or QB naked play, just like we talked about at Hillsborough. So it is going to be a great challenge for us. I know our guys are excited. They're coming in here with only one loss on their record. It's going to be in a great atmosphere. It's going to be youth night. Youth night is always great here. It's going to be beautiful weather from what I'm seeing, which is nice. Maybe a little bit on the chillier side, but just like it should be for October football. So our guys are excited for the challenge, and our guys will be ready.
They're giving up an average of 14 points a game, and Passaic Tech got most of them on them. They've shown pretty good defense.
Yeah, they really have. So we're really going to have to make sure that we're staying on our blocks, and being able to establish the run is important. It's important for us to establish the run, not just because of who we are, but also it opens up the pass game. When we're able to establish the run, then we're able to do some more things in the pass game. Dom was outstanding last week, and we were able to capitalize on a lot of things Hillsborough was giving to us. So we see a lot of the same things we're going to be able to do with West Orange as well. So execution, it all comes down to execution and staying on schedule.
Taking a look at their defensive statistics, they have over 20 sacks already.
Yeah, they like to blitz. They have good guys, good edge rushers off the edge, and they do like to blitz. And that poses a problem for you offensively. You have to practice it. They run a 3-3 stack, which means they have 3 down linemen and 3 linebackers. And you don't really know which one of those linebackers is coming, because in addition to those 3 linebackers, there's 2 outside guys. So it's a 3-3 stack with 2 guys on the outside. So they can send any combination of those 5 guys to create a 4-man rush or a 5-man rush, which means your pass protection really has to be shored up.
And going into a game like that, where you know that, is there anything special that you do in practice? Is know you're going to get a heavy rush?
Give them as many looks as you can. It always comes down to our scout team. We have Coach Decker who draw cards up, exactly how they're going to blitz, and say, here we go. Try to cause as much chaos as we can in practice, so the game is simpler and our guys are ready. But offensive linemen, we have to keep our head up, and not just in the pass game, the run game, because they will blitz linebackers, and we have to be able to pick those up in our gap scheme, run game.
One more. The night that Alexi Morera had on Friday, a field goal, 8 extra points. He's climbing up the scoring list so quickly.
Yeah, he really is. And what about all of his touchbacks too, which puts us puts the ball at the 20-yard line defensively, especially for a night like we had. So he's outstanding. Former soccer player. That's a common theme. You have a kid who used to play soccer and now he's kicking, and he's been great for us. Strong leg and does a great job with his punts as well.
Has to be discouraging for the other team to constantly get the ball at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, probably, especially if you have some decent athletes back there. I know it would be for us, but the field goal play has really been a big part of what we are, and I really like it, because sometimes if you're in that 4th and medium situation as opposed to going for it, which is a low percentage chance, you kick a field goal, you get 3 points on the board. And in close games, 3 points can be the difference.
Good luck versus West Orange.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Just to remind our viewers, the Frank Duffy Show is taped at the Phillipsburg High School television studio before each home game under the direction of PHS Stateliner Media Instructor Caitlin Schmidlin and in cooperation with the Phillipsburg Athletic Department and the Phillipsburg Garnet Booster Club Foundation. The foundation raises tens of thousands of dollars annually to support Stateliner athletes. Those funds are deposited at PNC Bank, the official bank of Phillipsburg football, and the Phillipsburg Garnet Booster Club Foundation. I'm Mike Moore. We'll see you next time before the Union game on Friday, October 17th.